Hello, Next Level creators. Today I have Keegan O'Rourke from Lux Lab on with me. And his mission with his production company is to tell stories that are true, good, and beautiful. And that's why he joined Next Level Creators, was to be able to do that at a higher level. So, Keegan, you have gotten your first commercial campaign client. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Today, we are going to talk all about your history through video production and where you see yourself going and how you see yourself making a bigger impact with the stories you're telling. So, thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Paul.
And so, the first question I always love to ask when I'm doing these interviews is what made you want to start out as a storyteller and in video production in the first place? What was that initial draw or curiosity?
Yeah, thanks, Paul. My team and so I have two partners, and they are filmmakers. I'm actually the business person. But I've had a dream of the impact that story, watching different movies, how they actually draw us in our imagination and kind of want us to move us to something, right? So my story is Jurassic Park. Like, why is there no Jurassic Park? Why can't I go there? So that led me to like us joining forces. They started the company, we joined forces, and yeah, essentially just a desire, our kind of our relationship with God, relationship with Jesus, like how can we make a big impact in the world? How can we tell the greatest story ever told and do it through video? Because it's not very good in the Christian Catholic world. It's mostly cheese ball or just low quality. So that's how we got into video production in this realm uh, in the first place.
And so, wanting to make that impact, seeing the power of storytelling just throughout your childhood and being attracted to it is really what it was. And as you said, you kind of you identified a problem, right? Which was that the Catholic Church in a lot of that market really have no idea how to leverage storytelling the right way. They're very bad at it in
Yeah.
many ways. And you, of course, having these filmmaker friends who are now your partners, were able to come in and solve that problem for them. And how long have you been doing that? Because I know you're basically working with nonprofits, and it was pretty much project to project before joining Next Level Creators. So how long were things like that for you?
Yeah, right. We've been around for almost 3 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
So 3 years of doing that and working project to project. And I mean, as far as your take on what you were doing, right? Looking at the work you were producing, what did it feel like creating those videos? Like, what were some of the projects you were working on, and how was the dynamic for your business set up? Was it pretty much just you'd get a client and then you'd create a video and then they would disappear, or was it a lot of ongoing work with the same churches?
Yeah, great question. So I'll give you kind of two avenues. One is we have a TV show on Amazon Prime, so that was like a big chunk of revenue, and that's obviously a long ongoing project. But we've done 2 seasons now, so that was a huge help. That was really great. The other things were really just mostly just one project, and I wouldn't say like we hadn't done multiple projects for some clients, but it was mostly just one here, and then you know, uh, for instance, just this past year we did we're doing a couple of projects for someone we did a project 3 years ago, or 2.5 years ago. So just very hit and miss. I think we have good relationships with those clients, but not a lot of steady ongoing work, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And so when did you first come across us and like what we do, and where did you find us?
Probably through my partner Nick. I think he saw your ads on Facebook, to be
Okay.
honest, and then signed up for your email, and then sent it to me. And he said, we gotta look into this," because he had been thinking a lot about. Because one of the natures of our clients with the project to project was, to be honest with you, is that we saw that what we were doing, the stories we were telling, could leverage a great impact, right? They had, staying power, but there was the clients we're working for have no idea what to do with them. So like I stepped in and I was asking people, so what are some of the results you're getting from these things? What have you seen? What's been kind of the outcome after we made this video for you? They're like, wow, people really love it. Like, okay, like what else? Like you had some goal in mind to use this for before we got there and kind of dig into that. And they're like, well, I think it's really helping us a lot. And like they didn't have any way to track it, no measurable results. So even on a spiritual religious realm, like no more increase in Bible study numbers that they could know of, no more like people signed up for some conference, nothing.
Sure.
They couldn't track anything.
Yeah.
And so that to us was like, that was the first reason we kind of looked into this. Like we got intrigued because boy, not only, so I think it's two pieces. Not only we want ongoing recurring work, we want stuff that like that, or we're like the monthly thing that we're able to manage things kind of, I don't want to call it passive income. Obviously you're working for it, but just not trading hours for dollars, trading value for dollars.
Leveraged income.
What's that?
We call it leveraged income.
Oh yeah, right.
Passive income is like, it's not passive, right? There's
right. Leverage.
Yeah.
Leverage. Yeah. Good clarification. Yeah. So anyways, that was the thing. So it was one piece. These people were doing this great work. And at the end of the day, it felt like, yeah, we love your stuff, but there was no reason like we should do more stuff with you until it's like 2 years later and we need a new video because that one's kind of old,
Yeah.
And it's like, boy, do you know how many people you could reach this would impact? Like we put so much sweat and tears into making a story that people actually do love, but like you don't know what to do with it. So that was one reason. Then the other reason was, how are we going to get out of the grind of literally like every hour goes towards, it's like traded for $1 and there's not that leverage income of we're trading value for dollars. So then we can actually tell our own stories and not just be commissioned to tell stories.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, wow. Your partner saw me, you guys went through that's a lot of thinking right there. And then, of course, you booked a call, you decided to have a strategy call. We likely worked through a lot of those things. And I think what's really interesting about what you guys are doing in that impact is, exactly as you said, the whole goal here through what you're doing with these churches and your mission is that impact, right? You want to tell stories that make a difference. And what happens with a lot of people is like, some people can quantify impact as like emotion, right? Oh, I feel good that I have this video. 2 years later, I feel like I need another video, but it's not a tangible, hey, we're actually doing this. And you've found a way to actually quantify those things now, which is something that I don't think I've ever seen in that space, ever. I've never seen anyone talk about that, like increasing people actually set Bible studies, increasing people attending church, and finding measurable ways to grow your mission and your message. That's something that is extremely powerful, that I'm very excited to see what you're able to do with over the next few years here, leading in that space. And so getting into next level creators, what were some of the biggest sort of learnings that you have or principles that you've taken so far and started to implement, and how is that affecting the way you're doing things now in your company?
Yeah. Well, is it too generic to say everything? Like everything, it's like mind blowing.
I appreciate that, but yeah, I guess no, not really. It's sounds about right.
Yeah, no, I can give you some specifics, but those, yeah, I just we're like eating it up, and I'm not going through it on 8-week pace like I should be. My partner is; he's staying disciplined, but that's okay because most of the stuff is stuff that he would do because he's the video guy anyways. So I'm actually running our first commercial campaign as a digital marketer, but I didn't make any of the stuff. I didn't make any of the video content. They did. I'm just running the ads because no one had any time to do it. So we can get into that later. But the point is, two things that stuck with me was me personally, Earn the Deal is something that I didn't know that I was going to get out of this as much as I have. To be honest with you, the sales process, I'm very good at getting in front of people. I'm very good at, kind of winning people over. So I get, and especially like we get people all the time referred to us, and I can get in there, they're sold, they're ready to go. What I was finding though is how do we make it so that, I don't know if this is not the right word, but I'm going to say it like this, like what is the cost of not working with us? So that's one piece that I've kind of taken away from this is like and kind of matching up, like seeing what is their need really, like what is that pinch? You call it something else, but like the gap.
Yeah.
Trying to help them figure out what the gap is. And I think that's where I was not doing a job. So like, yeah, I can sell you a project, but like the real value is why do you even want us to work with you? What is the gap that you're coming to us with? Because I think people are like, again, they feel like they need video work, they feel like they need this. People should do video, that's the way to go. They get it. They're like, emotionally they get it. Like, oh man, we need to tell stories. We got to get stuff on video that can really showcase what we're doing.
Yeah.
But so anyways, my point is that gap, like helping walk through that, like where are they now? Where do they want to be? And what is that gap, And that's been super helpful for me in these meetings with clients, even with clients because again, we're exploring, this is like a whole new thing of exploring nonprofit, like how do you do distribution commercial campaign with nonprofits who don't, anyways, I'm not going to go into there, but the point is that's really hard. So there are certain people who are feeling out, we can see are willing to do that and do more of that marketing, get that return on their investment. There are others that don't, but even in the meetings where they don't, and it's like, we're just going to do these video project with you for like a handful of videos. Getting in the meeting and having that mindset of the Earn the Deal has been super helpful because all of a sudden now, like I'm able to like show them the value of what we're bringing to the table. Yeah. And in some sense, they're totally willing to act in this. They're willing to pay more because they realize what we actually could do instead of like at the lowest possible denominator. I think you probably mentioned that in some of your commercials, like they're driving it to the bottom, like our budget is this. What can you do for this? Like instead the conversation is going to like, oh man, I had someone just the other day. They were like, we have $1,000. What could we do with $1,000? Like, there's nothing you can do with $1,000. Like, I can't even pull my camera out for $1,000.
Yeah.
You can't buy an Apple Watch for $1,000. So it's like, but at the end of the day, they're like, I gave them a bigger budget just for this one project, and they were like, we're done, we're sold. You're right, you did a good job. Like, but that Earned the Deal. So that's my biggest takeaway, probably. That's my biggest takeaway. But seeing how you do this in a leveraged way, how you do this is so targeted, that's mind blowing to me. Like, that's just, man, this advertising that's so targeted is so powerful.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So sorry, that was a long answer.
I loved it because I felt like I was learning through the process of you talking, which was exciting for me because it gives me feedback on where I can go back and keep making things better. I love the fact that you've learned primarily more than anything, I think with Earn the Deal, like you said, is all of these sales. Like I've been through so many sales trainings. It sounds like you've kind of, tried to do a couple other things as well, and you've had some success. But most things approach everything by saying, all right, here's this boilerplate templatized thing, and you have to sell it exactly like this, otherwise it won't work. Whereas what we do is we say, no, you walk in with this mindset, these core values, and this understanding that you're there to create value. And then you understand how the conversation goes to make it valuable in and of itself. And then by the end of it, the result is always good because you walk away with a relationship and value was created. That's going to lead to bigger opportunities. It's going to lead to people wanting to pay you a lot more because they see the value in what that is. And the ones who can afford it will say yes. The ones who can't will go and get the resources so that way they can. And then the ones who aren't a good fit, we both walk away happy because they now know that we're not a good fit. So I think that mentality that you've adapted is possibly, I mean, I can just feel it kind of resonating off of you right now of how powerful it's been for you so far. So that's exciting.
Yeah, really exciting.
And so moving forward into your business, you've only been working with us, I mean, for a relatively short period of time. You're running this one campaign already. Where do you see yourself going next? You know, how are you going to begin leveraging this knowledge and the next level creator system to take it where?
Yeah, great question. So I think I mentioned to you, but one of the things we've been talking about as our team is kind of trying to find that niche a little bit. We have a big, huge network of people that are business owners. So I don't say that like out of pride or something like, oh, I'm so great. I just mean there are so many possibilities of people I talk to that could use this and are interested, to some degree. So we're trying to figure that out. One of the ways that may be the most viable, which I didn't think it would be, is I just had a conversation yesterday, right before this phone call, about a guy who is a specialist in capital campaign fundraising for Catholic nonprofits. Like we're talking like $60 million campaigns, right? And he wants to do everything digitally. And so we're talking, and he's like, I need a creative partner. He knows our work. And I was like, what is your distribution method for all this digital stuff? And we start talking about how we can leverage like a commercial campaign sort of thing, like paid advertising. Like we didn't go into the exact wording. And we're having this conversation back and forth of this could potentially blow up, not blow up in the bad sense, like grow exponentially, because so many, and this is the one area where nonprofits would see the return on their value, and we could prove it to them, because when they do a fundraising campaign, you need your return on your investment. If we spent this to fundraise this, we better see it,
Yeah.
So that's an exciting opportunity there. I think that's probably the most viable, but I'm also in conversation with a few other people. So we're just trying to figure that out. Like, I'm just so excited, and I don't want to get way off track and like trying to dive into too many things, but I think we're trying to kind of figure out where's that next person, so we could kind of build that proof of concept.
Yeah, and that's exciting because you have many opportunities. And of course, in the program, we talk about how niche selection is a very important decision. However, you can easily overthink it. A lot of people think that if you don't, like, you just pick a niche and then that's your niche. It's not the way it works. The way it works is you don't actually have a niche market until you have a paying client and a proof of concept, right? That's when you have a niche market. Everything you say up until then is a hypothesis about the market that you want to work in. But you haven't actually validated that it's real to give you the market yet. So for you, the most important skills and mentalities to adapt at this stage of your business are flexibility, resourcefulness, and massive, massive action, which you are doing all of those three things right now. You are staying flexible because you're talking with multiple different people. You're staying resourceful by going through the program and continuing to practice. And you're taking massive action by setting up all of these meetings and pursuing them as if they are your niche market, which is exactly what you're supposed to do. That's how you find success. You have to be adaptable and flexible, especially in the beginning of your business. So I already know we're going to hit something big here very soon. It's a matter of continuously preparing yourself the right way, and we'll make it happen. So that's a lot of fun. The last real question here is, of course, would you recommend Next Level Creators? And then anything else that you would say to someone who perhaps is in the similar situation to you, who's considering joining but just on the fence or uncertain for maybe some of the reasons you were uncertain about it?
Yeah, I would definitely recommend it. Absolutely. So yes, without qualification. I also think that that being said, I would say that's not a clarify. I would say the reason, if you're on the fence, probably the number one thing actually is the wealth of knowledge that Next Level Creators has brought to our business. I mean, realistically, I joined a Facebook advertising other thing or whatever that I saw online, and it was good. And so like I kind of thought this was like tit for tat. Why is this so much more expensive? I mean, just to be honest, forthright with you. I was like, I mean, that thing was like whatever per month. It was cheap, you know.
Yeah.
This is just like an all-encompassing kind of business growing program in this specific area and helping do this. But it's not only good for your clients, it's good for us. How we can do this better for our personally, how we can get clients, help our clients. So that's my. It's just yeah. That's what I'm just, like when you said, what do you like? What do you take away from it? Well, everything. It's just way beyond the wealth of knowledge and expertise is way beyond what I actually ever thought I would get out of this.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It took a long time. It took
Yeah.
5 years of my life, but yeah. And it's,
Well, you can tell. Yeah, I can tell. That's really excellent.
well, I appreciate it. Yeah. And
Thank you.
it's only going to get better. Every single year we continue to improve it. And I'm excited. Of course, version 4 is on the rollout right now. You get access to it today, which is incredible. I'm so excited to see what you and your team do with it. And yeah, we're off to a good start here. First campaign, lots of opportunities. So flexibility, resourcefulness, and massive action. That's the way forward.
Okay.
All right, Keegan. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah. Thanks for the time, Paul.